Hey guys, Skis here, back with another ADA video. So it's been a while since I talked about ADA and just altcoins in general, mainly just because it really only matters about Bitcoin right now still. I still think we're getting alt season. I know that we didn't get it yet in Q1, which I really did think we were going to get it. And there's a couple of reasons why, like looking back on it now, that it kind of makes sense, but I still think we're going to get it in 2025. So yeah, I'm gonna make another video on Veracity tomorrow, and I'm also actually gonna start talking about Litecoin a little bit, just because Litecoin's also looking kind of interesting. But I want to talk about ADA because it's just kind of been a while, and a lot of things have happened with ADA since we talked about it. So let's just get into it. This is ADA against Bitcoin. We've seen this chart a lot. This is typically we only talk about ADA Bitcoin, but I'm actually going to talk about ADA USD a little bit today. But we're currently sitting at 839 sats. So from the low at around 471, it's up around 78%. So it's not too bad. It actually went up way higher. It went up to almost 200%. That's like a triple on Bitcoin. But we got a really big bounce from this area that we've been talking about for a long time, between 400 and 500 sats. The last time I spoke about ADA Bitcoin, I think I said that we were actually like literally at the bottom, and I said that I did buy a little bit just because it looked like it was a pretty good time to buy, but I was expecting it to kind of stay in this range for a lot longer than it just, 3 weeks. I know that we did get a really big bounce, but we're kind of still putting in the same pattern that it has been putting against Bitcoin this entire way down. So, which is basically just, it'll get a pretty big move down, it'll bounce up, but it'll set like a lower high, right? Then it'll just keep going down. The level we're at now, actually, we got a pretty nice bounce. This was back in October 2023. But even this high still was much lower than the previous high. And then we just sold off again. And then we got another bounce. And this one was the Trump election bounce. And it's still actually put in a lower high. So we're actually just putting in lower highs still. So even this really huge pump, I mean, we dumped all the way back down from almost 1,400 sats. We came all the way back down to 550, a 60% drop. And then we bounced from 550 up to 1270. And even after that bounce, this was still a lower high. Like we didn't even take out the high from November. So actually it was December. So we're still actually just putting in the pattern of getting a bounce, but it doesn't go as high as the previous high. And until we actually break that, I think the pattern is still the same. I mean, I think there's actually a chance we do actually come all the way back down to around 500 sats. I don't know this time if we're going to spend time in it like we did last time, because you can kind of see what happened last time was we did spend time in it, but then once we got a really big bounce from it, which, it actually went a little bit higher than where we went last time. Like the bounce from 470 sats, it basically did that last cycle. I mean, we did go lower. We went all the way down to 400, but we peaked out just at around where we peaked last time. And then what we still did, we still ended up coming down and retesting it one more time. It came all the way back to 500. So the pattern is still kind of the same. We got a reaction from it, which was really nice, but I think that there is still a chance that we bleed back down, and then we come back up. I'm still targeting the top of this range, of course. That's been the plan the whole time, and it is a super long-term play. So I think we're just gonna have to wait a little bit longer until Bitcoin kind of turns around. But also like the sentiment in crypto, and like there's just kind of been a lot of things happening in crypto that I think that haven't been so great for all coins recently, and then just a lot of things just like macro wise. that aren't really suiting alt season either. So I still think we're going to get it, but I think that we're going to come back down again, at least to like around this low here. I don't know if we will come all the way back down. I do think we will come into this again. Maybe it'll be just like a wick like last time. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Coming back down to the box at around 400, 500. You know, you can maybe argue around like 550. I think we'll come to 550, this low right here again. We'll see what happens if we get down here, because, you know, there's no guarantee that we do come back down here. ADA's actually been pretty strong, especially because Trump announced that it was going to be part of this U.S. strategic reserves. So that actually, you know, was the reason why we got this huge pump right here. And I think there's a chance that it doesn't come all the way back down just because of stuff like that. So we'll see what happens, but I do think we'll come back down a little bit more. Like, I don't think that we're just like off to the races right now, unfortunately. Until we like maybe start showing like higher high, like if we do like come around and we take out this high here. I know this is the previous high, but I really want to see us take out this one. If we can take out this high and then come back down and then, you know, maybe push up again, then I think that, you know, we're heading up. But until we do something like that, I do think we're going to come down, maybe go sideways, but, you know, you can kind of look at this. It kind of just bleeds down, right? It doesn't really go sideways unless we're at the bottom. So that's how ADA Bitcoin's looking right now to me. I actually want to talk about the ADA USD pair because we've never really talked about it, but, you know, I look at it all the time, and I actually just want to kind of look at it in a more macro, like zoomed out type of way. So I should just get rid of this box for now. You know, if you look back, I mean, if you just look at this chart, really zoomed out, I mean, this is all the way back to 2018, 2017, but the general trend is still up, right? We kind of have this like shape, this like U shape, and then we're kind of doing it again, right? So I do think we're going to just continue the trend and follow this U shape. I don't know how high we're going to go this cycle. I think like for me, like if we went to 10, 10 is definitely possible because you got to remember market cap. And I think $10 ADA would put it at around like a $330 billion market cap, which is, you know, that's pretty big. So $10 is like mathematically, like I think it's possible. I think we'll go between, I think we're definitely going to take out this high for sure. I think we'll go to like $5 minimum. I think honestly between like 5 and 10 is kind of like my target. It's kind of a big target, but I definitely think we're taking out the previous high. So, and the previous high was at like $3.20. So $5 not that much farther up. I don't really know if we're gonna go past 10 though, because like I said, that's like around a 350, maybe $330 billion market cap, which is pretty big. But like I said, just looking at this pattern and just the trend, ADA looks like it's gonna kind of start reversing. And even since the bear market, because you got to realize like this past cycle is really just this price action right here. You know, from, let's just take it from, you know, the peak of the last cycle to where we are right now. It is taking a long time, but ADA is slowly climbing back up, right? Like we came all the way down. This was the bear market when Bitcoin bottomed at like 15K. And then what ADA actually did was actually came all the way back down and double bottomed. So it had a double bottom, which is a great base. And then we got a really big move. We got a big move up in October. I think this October. Yeah. And then we came down, but like this bottom, we didn't actually come all the way back down. I know it was like kind of close. I mean, we bottomed at around 24 cents and this bottom here was around like 30 cents, but it was still higher. And then we got the move up in November, and now we're kind of consolidating at this next level. And, you know, we bottomed at around like 60 cents. I know we wicked back down to 51. So actually, because we wicked back down to 51, I think there's actually a chance we do maybe come back down just one more time to test it. But now the highs, like we're starting to like climb back up. And what we might do is like consolidate for a bit here. Because I know ADA Bitcoin doesn't go sideways, but ADA USD does go sideways, right? Like ADA Bitcoin, like there's really like no sideways movement here, right? It's just basically straight down. But ADA USD actually does have sideways movement. So maybe we just kind of go sideways for a bit, you know, something like this, and then we can like get a pretty big move again up. I think that's actually really possible. It's something I'm looking out for, and I think that ADA is going to do really well in this cycle. Like even if we went, let's say we actually did go, like ADA could 10x from here still. It could still 10x, and it's already from the low at 25 cents. It's basically at a 3x. So that would be huge, right? If it went to $7, that'd be like a 30x, almost a 30x from like the bear market low. Obviously right now it'd be like a 10x, but I think it's gonna eventually outperform Bitcoin. That doesn't mean I think it's gonna outperform it in the short term, because like I said, we already talked about ADA Bitcoin. If I think this is gonna go down, then it's not gonna outperform Bitcoin for now, but I do think it's gonna hit the top of the range again. So that when we move up here in this chart, when this chart starts going up, that's when when it starts outperforming Bitcoin. It's like this move here. So yeah, I think ADA is a coin that I do hold, and that I think you got to be really patient with it. And in crypto, there's a lot of scams, and I don't want to say like ADA is like not a scam or anything, but if there's any coins that are like at least the most safe apart from Bitcoin, I do think ADA is in that category. So it's like you're not really risking like a crazy amount, and I think that you can get a pretty good reward. I mean, a 10xing is kind of a lot. So I know we want like 100x, but we can't get mad with the 10x. ADA's at 9th right now, around $25 billion market cap. So $7 ADA will put it around a $250 billion market cap, which, oh, actually is another thing I wanted to talk about, market cap, because I was looking at this. And in 2017 to 2018, it peaked at around $25 billion market cap. Yeah, at around a $25 billion, no, I think 28. You can see it on the right side over here. So I can't get it to line up the Pico top right now, but oh, there it is, 28 billion. So a little under 30. And then in 2021, it went up to 93. So basically 3x'd. So if we 3x'd again from 93, that put us at like 270. So that actually would put us slightly higher than $7. So that's within like the $5 to $10 target. That's like right in the middle. So I actually think that's actually really possible. That's my target for ADA for now. I don't know, you know, how things are going to play out, obviously, but I think ADA is a pretty good coin. I know some people like trash talk ADA and all, but if you really just look at this chart, and if you want to be somewhat relatively safe in crypto, I don't think there's anything wrong with like going with ADA, because I think you can just look at the data and, come up with whatever you want. But this is how I see it. And yeah, guys. So that was just an update on ADA. Like I said, I'll make updates on Veracity, and I'm actually gonna start talking about Litecoin because it's looking kind of interesting now. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.